What's going on, everybody? It's that time again. Sooners Illustrated game preview time. Week 10, game 9, Oklahoma, Maine. Not a team you see every single weekend out of the FCS. Come to Norman on Saturday. It's a 1:30 kick time. I'm pretty confident. Only time I've ever covered a 1:30 game. It's an homage to what is that? I think like the 40s and 50s, something like that. It's an homage to kickoff times from a past
bygone era
football. Yeah. Maine of the FCS comes in. They're 4-4. Oklahoma's 4-4. People know the deal. Sooners need to win 2 games to get to bowl eligibility. Obviously, big favorites here against an FCS opponent. Guys, it's not something that Oklahoma fans are certainly used to, having a non-conference game this late. It's the latest non-conference game, I think it said in the game notes, since 2001. So it's unusual to have a team out of the non-conference this late, especially an FCS opponent. But a good opportunity, you would think, for Oklahoma to just get some confidence back, get some guys healthy, maybe get them out of this game quick, play some younger guys, things like that, almost like you would get in, week 1 typically, but it's happening in the opening weekend in November. But Oklahoma will take it, an opportunity to just kind of get away from SEC play for a weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I was like, I'll go.
It's an opportunity for them to, get right.
Yeah,
you don't, like you said, you don't often have like a get right game this late in the season. You see it more in the SEC. I don't know how often we'll see that moving forward for Oklahoma, but get an FCS team in here, get off your 3-game slide and try to get a little bit more confidence going into that final 3-game stretch and see if you can, like you said, get to bowl eligibility because we're pretty safely certain that they're going to handle business this weekend against Maine. Yeah, you would hope to. If you don't, there's bigger problems at hand. But take care of this, and then you just got to win one of the next 3 to secure that bowl bid.
Yeah, I know we've talked about untimely, like this is like we're not used to certain situations where this type of opponent comes in this late in the season, but it's perfect timing for OU, like to get this game and where you can really work on some things because I mean people are talking about you and things like that. 3-game losing streak. It's time to get that situation handled here. Let's get Joe John Finley more comfortable. Let's get Jackson Arnold back at there more comfortable. Let's get a game like that because usually it's a warm-up game at the beginning of the season, as Josh has said. Now you get that here where you really need it, and hopefully you get some more guys healthy potentially after this game and things like that.
100%. It looks like it might be a sloppy day in Norman. Early weather indication, not pretty. About a 70% chance of rain right now, last I checked. So not great. We'll continue to monitor that. It changes often in Oklahoma, but hasn't looked great all week. So we'll see how that shakes out. But yeah, an opportunity to get back on track, obviously, just get some good vibes going. I think I saw the stat that the month of October was the only month that Oklahoma didn't win a football game, I think, since the 90s, which we said that a few times, since the first time since the 90s. So, yeah, it's been a minute. That Auburn game was a while ago. So just feel good about something.
More than a month ago now.
Will be nice. Yeah, I mean, a lifetime ago. So that'd be
nice.
I
was going to say, I was actually looking up before when you had mentioned that it's the latest non-conference game they've had since 2001. Why? Because the games after September 11th got postponed to the
I was wondering why.
Later in the year. So they were originally supposed to play Tulsa that first week, that weekend of after September 11th, but all the games got postponed that week and it got moved to November.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. That's how long it's been. So it'll be interesting having Maine come in and be an unusual matchup, obviously for obvious reasons. Don't have the benefit of an injury report this week, not an SEC game, so they don't have to provide that availability report to us like we've kind of gotten the luxury of throughout the season. Wouldn't bank on anybody being back. Why would you play, this game in possibly the rain? We'll see. We'll monitor it, and we'll have a look at warm-ups and stuff, but doesn't seem likely to be pushing anyone for this game. Certainly,
we did get intel. I mean, Brent Venables did talk about it to press. I mean, some guys are out. We know for sure for the year now, like Gentry Williams, things like that, and Jacob Sexton, Jake Taylor, those guys. We'll see how that offensive line is going to handle themselves with those guys being out. And cornerbacks, man, it was a big talk after last game. They're dealing with a lot of injuries as well in that unit. So
yeah,
see what happens with them as well.
100%. So on that note, let's go ahead and do our keys to the game. I'll get it started here. Very basic. Just get some good vibes. This should be a blowout. this is it's one of those spots because it's been rough and Oklahoma's lost 3 games in a row. Everything we just said. If this game is anything but a demolition, it'll feel like a loss, right? I mean, they need to win this by what's a good number? 40. I mean, you need to win.
Spread's 35.
So this is an opportunity more than anything, just to let the guys have some fun. I mean, just it's been like we were just joking about that Auburn game was a while ago. It's been hard around here. Good opportunity to get the offense going, get kind of like James was saying, get Jackson Arnold more and more confident. The offense, get some guys into the end zone, play some younger guys. I mean, a lot of things like that. This should not be a sweaty game by any means. So it's a basic key, but my key is just take care of business. Don't mess around here. Give yourself some good vibes, and to have that feeling of winning again before you go on the road to Missouri next week, what should be, obviously, a very interesting and potentially winnable game as well. So just give us some good vibes and some reason for OU fans to smile and be happy for a Saturday.
Yeah, my key, it's not so much the key to victory so much as like a key to, approaching this game is like, get some of these young guys some reps, man. Like this is an opportunity. I think especially along the offensive line, they should expect to play, some of these young guys that, still have an opportunity to redshirt this season. I know they brought Isaiah Autry-Dent up to the 2 deep. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some meaningful reps in this game. Are we going to see EPL? Are we going to see Eugene Brooks? Guys like that. They need to start getting these guys some in-game experience, even if it's just getting their toes wet. Mm-hmm. You got to do something. You got to get those guys ready because, we've talked about kind of the dire situation along the offensive line, and a lot of it is you need to develop what you have because you can't just go out there and rely on trying to bring in, a handful of experienced guys in the portal, because it's hard to get elite offensive linemen in the portal, especially if you're trying to get several of them. So focus on some of this in-house development and get these guys some reps, see what they look like in game situations, because you see what they do in practice, you see what they do on the scout team, but they're going to need to get like some actual reps. And, I think an opponent like Maine, with all due respect to them, is a good opportunity to get these guys some confidence because, Brent Venables talked about that earlier this week. It's like, these guys have talent. They just don't always have the confidence. And you get that confidence from having success. So get them out there, get them some success, get them some confidence.
I think the key to the game is what OU has done in every win this season is win the turnover battle. Like when you play a team like this, turn the ball over. I mean, it was the biggest thing that helped them out against Temple, because even after that game, we were all like, I don't know about the offense so much. They didn't seem, even though they scored 44 points, what was it, 44 points, something like that?
He wants to end up with. He had the special teams touchdown, though.
Yeah, even though they scored that many points, it was like, I don't know about the offense, and they seemed to be slouching a little bit. The defense kept them like really, energized in that game because they turned the ball over so much in that game, forcing those fumbles, getting the interception. Do that again against Maine here. Let's see that happen again. Even the defense, we talk about the offense a lot. Let the defense get some confidence again. Let those cornerbacks, that are like all the time in the one-on-one situations, win some matchups here. Let's see what happens. So that's what I think the key to the game is for OU.
100%. And probably goes without saying too, just health. Just you don't need more injuries in this game of all games. Like I said, we'll see what happens with the weather. It does look like it might be sloppy. So it kind of goes into what I was saying before of just take care of business. And to Tom's point, get the young guys in there, get the veteran guys out of this thing as quick as you can and rest them up and avoid. The last thing all you need is more injuries. So, try to avoid that as best you can on Saturday. What about some players to watch? You got pretty much the whole roster to pick from here because you would imagine they would be able to play everyone for the things we were just saying. So where your eyes go, Tom, you can start it as far as a player that you're going to be interested in the most this weekend.
Yeah, I just mentioned him. It's Isaiah Autry-Dent. Reynolds talked about he got elevated from the scout team to the 2 deep this week. I do think that he is going to see some sort of playing time this week. We'll see, how whether that's starting, whether they kind of shake things up just to, again, get these guys some experience against a team like Maine. But Brent Venables spoke really highly of him twice this week. First during his coach's show, and then again on Tuesday during his press conference, talked about how he's been, their scout team player of the week multiple times. Even though he wasn't on the 2 deep last week, he brought him on the travel roster as kind of a reward to him and also a chance to, be there with the team when they're playing close to his hometown, They played in Oxford last week. I think he's from the Tupelo area, which isn't too far away from Oxford. So, just kind of rewarding him. Talked about how he's put on, I think, 40 pounds of muscle since he got to Oklahoma. Obviously, he's not 40 pounds heavier than when he got to Oklahoma, but converted some of that, baby weight, high school weight to good functional weight that they can use along the offensive line. So I'm curious to see how he does when he finally gets that opportunity, because look, I think we all agree that they probably have some dudes that they signed in this last class, and they've got some more coming in if they can hold on to that O-line class, and they need these guys to develop and to actually be something. So I'm curious to see what Isaiah Autry-Dent could do given the opportunity this weekend.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick, Isaiah. So I'll to do something different, I'll go to the guy that's going to be running behind him, and it's Javonte Barnes. I mean, coming off his career game, it would be good to see him get some more reps and look good again. I mean, he looked really good last week, and want to see him do that against a lesser opponent. OU should be able to handle the offensive line of scrimmage in this one, because you've dealt with SEC defensive lines this entire time. I know it's different guys that are going to be out there, but going against that should make you better. Iron sharpens iron is what everybody says. So being able to have to deal with that now going to this game, it should be a good sign for the offensive line. And hopefully Javonte Barnes can take really good advantage of that, because he played really well last week.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and go with a little bit of a twofer here. Both starting cornerbacks, Kenai Walker, Des Malone. We talked about on Monday, not their best game against Ole Miss. Venables talked about it, press conference on Tuesday, just a little too inconsistent right now. And Des Malone admitted it on Monday night. We talked to him after practice. The nature of the position, it only takes a couple mistakes to kind of ruin your whole day at cornerback. And the challenge now is against Maine, which has got a decent receiving core, headlined by Montego Moss, who the name sounds familiar for good reason there, relation to Randy. He is a pretty good player. He's having a nice season. Their quarterback, Carter Peavy, is an older quarterback. He's been around. He was at Mercer before for 4 years. He's a fifth-year guy at Maine. He's having a good season statistically. I know it's FCS making that jump, but they're capable of throwing the ball around a little bit. So we'll see what the weather does, but it's, not a complete pushover in that regard. So my challenge there would be for both those guys to have a bounce back and just shut down their guys. And kind of, again, the theme of a lot of this, just get some good vibes back and some confidence before going against Luther Burton, Theo Weiss, and that receiver crew next week.
And then Ryan Williams
starting after that. What's that?
1 week at a time. 1 week at a time.
And then Ryan Williams the week after that.
Yeah, right. There's it's some scary hours coming for that unit. All right, want to pick it? Final score predictions. Colin had 41-3 on the Thursday pod. I guess. Wait, who's starting? I'm starting.
I think it's me,
James
right?
starting. James
it's me.
starting.
Yeah.
I got twisted up.
James this is a game I think should be really, should go really well for OU. I think it'll be 38-0 here. I think the shutout happens. This defense gets back on this grind, and the offense finds its rhythm here under Joe John Finley. And I think it'll be a shutout, because that's what we want to see, is to get those younger guys out there. I mean, the even younger guys. I mean, there are already young guys out there, but the freshmen, so to speak, to get out there and play. And I think that's the type of game that's going to take type of performance is going to take for those guys to be out there. So 38-0, I think, is the score for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to take OU big, I assume. I'm going to go 45-6. It's going to be my score for Oklahoma. Yeah, I think they'll play well, right? I mean, they should be able to cruise here pretty good. I'll say Maine can get down the field a couple times with that receiver crew, a couple times ish. Maybe a punt return. I don't know. 45-6 is what I'll go with, though. And Oklahoma takes care of business pretty good here. I have a hard time in the weather with what this offense has done, just envisioning a 60 or 70 spot, something like that. But I do think they'll score points, and they'll take care of business and be on to the back end of SEC play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my official score prediction is a lot to not nearly as much.
Like the Space Jam.
Yeah. Just roll it up. You make a good point about the weather. I don't know how much Oklahoma's going to be able to throw it in that weather.
It's the X factor. Yeah.
And they did have a lot of success last weekend running the ball against a very good Ole Miss team. They had 208 sack adjusted rushing yards, average 5 yards per carry when they actually ran the ball, instead of just getting sacked, because we know college football deducts sacks from the rushing yards instead of the passing yards like the NFL does. But no, I'm kind of in the same camp as Josh. I think it's going to be 42-3.
42-3. No field goals.
They'll run the ball a lot. They'll take advantage of some passing opportunities when they get it. But yeah, I think they need to do everything they can to produce as much offensively as they can to try to climb out of the basement there, just so the numbers look a little bit more respectable, even though like we know how bad the offense has been this season. When you're not looking at the 130 number there by the ranking, it makes you feel maybe a little bit better, even if the results are what they are over the course of the season.
I mean, the difference here is maybe to control that offensive line, like the line of scrimmage on the offensive side. I mean, that is one of the biggest hurdles for OU this season, especially in the SEC, as we've seen with their record, is when you can't block. I mean, it doesn't really matter what quarterback's out there or what's going on. You can't you can't get any plays done. So going against this opponent, you should be able to do a little bit more at the least and be able to run your offense. So that's why, I think we're all picking big here.
Yeah, if you can't dominate the line of scrimmage against a 4-4 FCS team, then you got some bigger issues.
Yeah,
for sure. No, 100%. And, like we said, I'm interested to see some young guys with 4 games left. Anyone who hasn't played, they could play, the rest of the year. They won't burn the red shirt. So your Devon Mitchells become interesting to me, guys like that. It's like, the young offensive linemen, like there's nothing to lose really now. If you
has EPL been out there?
Cut them loose.
Yeah, a couple of them played in the season opener against Temple, but not
sure. Yeah. I'd imagine, maybe
this is the week
Alabama. Right. We'll see. Gonna be interesting. Gonna be a weird matchup. Oklahoma, Maine. Weird kick time. It's all weird. Just a weird game overall, but we'll be there to cover it as usual.
Maybe they'll throw us lobster rolls this week.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool. I mean, a return trip to Maine next season would be neat, but not on the docket, I don't believe.
That's the thing I always want to get to. I've never been there. Don't know anybody that's ever been there. Like, I want to see what Maine's all about.
It's beautiful this time of year.
Yeah.
I almost considered that for my bye-week trip earlier in the month, but went to Canada instead.
I appreciate that they're the Black Bears. I appreciate that you're being a little creative with it, not just Bears. Let's throw a qualifier on it. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll all be there. It'll be interesting.
I hope they bring a real
tomorrow. Bear. What's that?
Hope they bring a real bear.
They used to have an actual no room on the sidelines for all that, though.
Yeah.
No room on the sidelines for all that. I was still blown away that the South Carolina Gamecock chicken thing was the only first live mascot ever at an OU game, like the road mascot, not Boomer Sooner. Kind of nuts. Yeah. So probably no room for a black bear.
I interviewed the handler of South Carolina's mascot a few years ago during I think it was the 2020 season, because that was when the SEC didn't allow live mascots in stadiums that year. So I did a story about how all the mascots that are usually on the sidelines are having a different game day experience. So I talked to the South Carolina handler, Georgia's Bulldog handler. I think Mississippi State's too. It was a fun story.
Yeah, Ugga rocks. Hopefully we get more of that. I just feel like in the Big 12, there's not a lot of live mascots like that. It's kind of more of an SEC thing. So
Texas and
we'll get more.
What else would it be? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be there tomorrow. We'll see if there's a black bear. I'll report on if there is. Tomorrow at the stadium, 1:30 kick. We'll be there, like I said. Full coverage on the website already, Oklahoma247sports.com. More to come leading up to the start of this game. And, of course, afterward, full post-game reaction. 3 of us, Brent Venables, coordinators, players, you know the drill, as Oklahoma, second to last home game of the year. And we're on the backstretch as we shift into November this weekend here with 4 games to go. That's it for now. We'll see you tomorrow from Norman. For Tom Green, James D. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway, Oklahoma, Maine on Saturday.